Rajdeep, first of all, thank you for getting us all those insightful interviews. These are, pure pleasure and delightful to watch them. In a room full of heads of state, billionaires, and world leaders, Donald Trump has issued a direct threat. Although he has said that he won't use force with regards to Greenland, but he has also been pretty clear about that how and why he wants Greenland. How is that being seen where you are?
Well, thank you very much, Maria. The truth of the matter is that it was no surprise what Donald Trump said. In fact, his remarks on Greenland, some have seen as rather mild, in contrast to some of the sharp, acerbic statements he's been making leading up to Davos. He suddenly said, as you rightly put it, that he won't use force to take Greenland. But he's making it very clear he wants to put Greenland on the negotiating table with the European Union and with indeed his NATO allies. And a statement has already come from the chair of the European Parliament's Trade Committee, which has put their vote on a trade deal with the US on hold. Remember, the EU is the largest trade partner of the United States, and the statement says America is undermining the stability and predictability of US trade relations by threatening the territorial integrity and sovereignty of a UN member, in this case, Denmark, by using tariffs as a coercive instrument. So I think somewhere down the line, the manner in which Donald Trump has shaped this entire debate has not gone well with Europe. They feel he's crossed a certain red line. You don't come in and immediately tell a member state of NATO to give up a particular territory because you want it. I mean, on one level, Donald Trump is saying it's just a piece of ice. If it's just a piece of ice, why is it that Donald Trump wants this piece of ice? It almost seems as if he has this idea, what Fareed Zakaria told me yesterday, of this mad king who wants to expand his territory and sees Greenland as a prized land that he wants to occupy or conquer and add to the United States kitty. Now, that's not how international relations work. That's the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney put it yesterday. You can't just simply go around the world dismantling the rules-based world order. That's not acceptable. So I think Donald Trump's statements have reflected the growing anger that is there in the EU nations. He's called everyone stupid, Maria, from Zelensky to Putin to even his host here in Switzerland. Uh, and that, I think, this kind of behavior of a bully isn't going down well. And I think many countries have understood, Maria, that the only way now to deal with Donald Trump is to look the bully in the eye. If you bend today, if the EU or NATO allies bend when it comes to Greenland, who knows where Donald Trump sets his eyes on next? So just because you've got Venezuela without firing a gunshot or certainly without any American casualties, doesn't mean you can just go across the world picking and choosing which piece of land you want. So I think there is anger, there's skepticism, and there is fear also, because Donald Trump is actually now acting on his threats. After Venezuela, I think there is also a certain fear factor that has gripped various governments.
Here is Donald Trump issuing explicit and implicit threats to European leaders. And if they do not grant his ownership wishes, that's as direct as it can get, Rajdeep. Is there a sense, particularly among the European Union leaders, that there has to be some kind of pushback? But how much can they go? I mean, how much are they really united enough to speak in one voice? Because in many ways it will be seen that Mark Carney, backing European Union, also got a threat from Donald Trump on the same platform today.
Well, you see, I think that really is the point, Maria, that how far can the EU go in staring down Donald Trump? Look, many of these countries at the moment are themselves wrestled with domestic problems. There's the war in Ukraine, which, according to Trump, he's close to fashioning a deal. Remember, Zelensky is also here in Davos, but there's no sign, at least at the moment, of the Ukraine problem ending anytime soon. And many of the European countries are struggling with their economies, with their domestic politics. I don't know how many of them individually are in a position to push back against Donald Trump, but collectively, I think the EU still matters. As I said, it's the US's biggest trade partner. And the EU, interestingly, is now also looking to de-risk from America, look at other deals. There's the mother of all deals that is being spoken about in the context of India. So the EU is also looking at options. But they're in a very difficult position because I don't think in their wildest dreams they thought of a situation where an American president will turn friends and long-standing allies into enemies or almost adversaries, and in the end, instead suck up to countries run by despots or autocrats, try and strike a deal with China. So there is concern in the EU. But collectively, I do believe that the EU can push back. They're going to use possibly what they call the bazooka weapon to have counter tariffs against the United States. All in all, we are heading for very, very uncertain and unsettled times, Maria.